In the quiet moments of our lives, we are called to reflect on our existence and our purpose. Humanity is not defined by the wealth we accumulate or the titles we wear, but by the kindness we share, the integrity we uphold, and the strength we find within to rise above challenges. We are all bound together by the shared experience of life. It is time to acknowledge our collective responsibility to one another and to this planet. We live in a world that is often divided, where differences are highlighted, and yet we have more in common than we realize. We are all human beings seeking love, purpose, and peace. Our future depends on our ability to rise above our fears and doubts, to choose compassion over conflict, and to heal the wounds of the past. A call to humanity is not just a call to action, it is a call to understand our shared humanity. It is a call to embrace the diversity that exists within us and around us, recognizing that our strength lies in our unity. Every action, no matter how small, ripples out to affect the world. Let us be the generation that chooses hope over despair, love over hate, and unity over division. We must not wait for the perfect moment or for someone else to lead us. The time is now and the responsibility is ours. We have the power to change the world, one act of kindness, one word of encouragement, and one gesture of understanding at a time. At the core of our existence, we are all bound by one undeniable truth: we are human. No matter the color of our skin, the language we speak, the country we come from, or the beliefs we hold, there is a shared essence in all of us. Each person, in their own way, is seeking the same things: love, peace, purpose, and belonging. The struggles we face, the dreams we chase, and the emotions we experience are universal. If we truly take a moment to reflect, we will see that we are more alike than we are different. This realization should drive us toward empathy, for to understand that someone else feels the same pain, joy, fear, or hope is to recognize our interconnectedness. We don't have to be the same to understand each other. In fact, it is through our diversity that we often find our most profound connections. There is beauty in recognizing that every human being walks a path filled with their own set of challenges and triumphs. Yet the fundamental need to be understood, valued, and loved transcends all boundaries. When we truly acknowledge the shared humanity in each person we meet, it shifts how we interact with the world. We begin to see people not as separate entities with opposing views or backgrounds, but as fellow travelers on this journey of life. This understanding compels us to offer kindness instead of judgment, to extend a hand instead of turning away, and to find common ground even in the midst of differences. It is through this recognition that we unlock the potential for unity. For in seeing our shared humanity, we can build bridges instead of walls, and transform the world into a place of compassion, understanding, and collective strength. In every moment of our lives, we are presented with a choice to act out of fear, anger, or to rise above and choose compassion. It is so easy in the face of conflict to react instinctively, to respond with the same harshness, the same bitterness, or the same defensiveness that we so often encounter. But we must remind ourselves that there is always another way. A way that requires us to take a breath, to pause, and to step outside of our own immediate emotions. That way is compassion. Compassion is not weakness. It takes far more strength to respond with understanding than to retaliate in kind. When we choose compassion, we are not saying that we approve of injustice or that we condone hurtful behavior. Rather, we are choosing to see beyond the offense, to see the person behind the actions. We are choosing to ask ourselves why someone behaves the way they do, what pain they may be carrying, and what led them to this moment. In choosing compassion, we not only lift others, but we lift ourselves as well. We free ourselves from the chains of resentment, and we open our hearts to the possibility of healing. In a world where anger and division seem to be the go-to reactions, it is a revolutionary act to choose compassion. It has the power to dismantle walls, heal wounds, and bring people together in ways that nothing else can. Compassion creates a space for understanding, where dialogue can replace discord, and where healing can begin. It doesn't mean that we will always agree, or that every issue will be resolved, but it opens the door to finding common ground in the most unexpected places. When we choose compassion, we break the cycle of retaliation. We break free from the endless back and forth of hurt and defense, and in doing so, we create ripples that can spread far beyond our own immediate world, inspiring others to respond with the same kindness, the same understanding. It is in these quiet moments when we choose compassion over conflict that we begin to shift the culture of our communities, our nations, and our world. And when that happens, we find that we are capable of more than we ever imagined. There is a weight that comes with the awareness of our collective responsibility, a weight that is not meant to burden us, but to awaken us to the truth that we are all in this together. The reality is that no matter how much we try to isolate ourselves, we cannot escape the fact that our actions ripple out, affecting not just ourselves but those around us and beyond. We are all part of something much greater than our individual selves. We are part of a global family. And just as any family must care for each other, so too must we care for the well-being of our shared world. It's easy to think that our choices are insignificant, that one person cannot possibly make a difference in the grand scheme of things. But the truth is, every small act of kindness, every moment of integrity, every time we stand up for what's right, it all matters. Every decision we make sends out a wave, a vibration, that influences others, shaping the way our communities grow and the world evolves. We are the stewards of this world, entrusted with its care, and with that comes a sacred duty to do more than just live for ourselves. It calls us to think beyond our own needs and desires, to consider how we can lift up those around us and protect the future for those who will come after us. When we acknowledge our collective responsibility, we begin to see the world through a different lens. We recognize that when one person suffers, we all suffer. When one person rises, we all have the potential to rise. There is a deep, inherent interconnectedness that binds us all, and the well-being of one affects the well-being of many. This responsibility is not a burden to be resented, but a privilege to be embraced, for it gives our lives deeper meaning and purpose. It encourages us to use our time, our resources, and our energy to not just build a better life for ourselves, but to build a better world for all. It also calls us to take action, not in grand gestures, but in the simple, everyday choices we make. It's the choice to lend a hand when someone is struggling, to speak out against injustice, to care for the planet that sustains us, to ensure that the opportunities we have today are also available to those who will follow us. Each of us has the power to make a difference, not through monumental acts, but through consistent, meaningful actions that show we understand the responsibility we bear. We are here not just to live, but to live in a way that ensures a brighter, more compassionate, and more sustainable future for all of humanity. We must not wait for the world to change on its own, because the change begins with us. We must be the ones to lead by example, to show that we care for one another, for our environment, and for the future. It is through this understanding of our collective responsibility that we truly begin to transform the world. We must rise to the challenge, not because we are asked, but because it is in our nature to do so. We are the stewards of today, but we also hold the keys to tomorrow. Let us use them wisely. In this world, diversity is not just an element of our existence, it is its strength. It is the vibrant tapestry of human experience, woven together by the threads of different cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives. Yet too often we allow our differences to divide us, to create barriers that separate us instead of bringing us closer. But when we learn to embrace diversity, to understand that the richness of our differences is what makes us stronger, we unlock the true potential of humanity. Diversity is not something to be feared, it is something to be celebrated. Every culture, every language, every tradition, every belief holds a unique story, a unique way of seeing the world, and within those stories lie lessons that can expand our own understanding. When we open ourselves to learning from one another, we create a space where innovation flourishes, where empathy grows, and where collaboration becomes possible in ways that we could never imagine when we are blinded by prejudice or ignorance. And to truly embrace diversity is to understand that it is not just about accepting others, but about acknowledging the value of their experiences, their voices, and their histories. It means recognizing that no one person or group has the monopoly on truth or wisdom. We all have something to offer, and when we come together, our combined strength is greater than the sum of our individual parts. This is the power of diversity. It teaches us that we are stronger not in spite of our differences, but because of them. It also calls us to step out of our comfort zones, to reach beyond the familiar, and to engage with the world in ways that challenge our assumptions. It means seeking to understand, not just to be understood. It requires us to listen, to ask questions, and to meet each person where they are, rather than imposing our own worldview upon them. In doing so, we create a culture of respect, one that honors every voice, no matter how different, no matter how quiet. When we embrace diversity, we create communities that are more resilient, more compassionate, and more capable of overcoming the challenges that lie ahead. In a world where problems are complex and solutions often seem elusive, it is our collective wisdom, drawn from a variety of perspectives, that holds the key to progress. The more we listen to each other, the more we learn from one another, the more we realize that the best solutions often come from the most unexpected places. At its core, embracing diversity is an act of humility. It is the recognition that we do not have all the answers, that our way is not the only way. It is the willingness to learn, to grow, and to be changed by those around us. In a world that can often feel divided, it is the power of diversity that reminds us of our shared humanity, our shared purpose. It teaches us that we are not alone, that our differences are not threats, but gifts waiting to be opened and shared. If we truly want to build a world of peace, understanding, and progress, we must learn to embrace diversity, to find strength in our differences, and to move forward together, united in our shared commitment to one another, and to the future we are all shaping. In this life, there are few forces as transformative as love. It is often easy to overlook its power, to take it for granted, or to assume that it's just an emotion, a fleeting feeling that comes and goes. But love is so much more than that. It is a choice. It is a force that has the potential to change everything we touch, to heal wounds, to create connection, and to lift us out of the darkest places. In a world that often feels fractured, love is the thread that can bind us all together. To lead with love is not to be naive or to ignore the complexities of life. It is not to turn a blind eye to injustice or to shy away from the hard work of standing up for what is right. Love, when it is genuine and rooted in a deep understanding of the human experience, empowers us to face the toughest challenges with grace. It gives us the courage to stand firm in the face of adversity, knowing that even in the most difficult moments, we are capable of choosing kindness, compassion, and understanding. Leading with love requires us to put others first, to consider their needs, their pain, their joy. It asks us to show up for one another, to extend our hands in support when it's needed most. It means showing up not just for the people we know, but for the people we don't know, the strangers, the misunderstood, the ones who may seem different or distant. It challenges us to see the world through their eyes, to walk in their shoes, and to offer the kind of love that doesn't ask for anything in return. This is the love that builds bridges, that tears down walls, and that opens hearts. When we lead with love, we create environments where people feel safe, seen, and valued. We inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond our immediate circles. The beauty of love is that it is contagious. When we offer it freely, without hesitation or judgment, it touches others in ways we might never fully understand. It encourages others to open their own hearts, to lead with kindness, to create a world where love is not an afterthought, but a guiding principle. Love has the power to transform not just individuals, but entire communities. It shifts the way we interact with one another, moving us from a place of scarcity to a place of abundance, where we give without expecting to receive, where we choose connection over division, and where we prioritize the well-being of others over our own. It encourages us to act out of generosity, not out of obligation, and to offer forgiveness, not out of weakness, but out of strength. To lead with love is to lead with humility. It requires us to recognize that we are not the center of the universe, that we do not have all the answers, and that our way is not the only way. It asks us to let go of our pride, to be open to learning from others, and to recognize that love is as much about receiving as it is about giving. When we lead with love, we invite others to share in that journey, to create something greater than ourselves, a world where love is the foundation upon which we build our relationships, our communities, and our future. Love is not just a feeling, it is an action. It is something that we choose every day in the way we treat others, in the way we approach challenges, and in the way we see the world. When we choose to lead with love, we make a promise to ourselves, to those around us, and to the world that we will always prioritize connection, empathy, and kindness. And in doing so, we have the power to create a world that reflects the very best of who we are. The true measure of strength lies not in how much we endure, but in how we respond to the challenges that life presents us. We all face hardships, moments of deep struggle, and times of uncertainty. It's a part of the human condition. But the true test of character comes not when we face easy times, but when we face adversity. And in those moments, we must remember that the power to overcome is within us. It is the ability to stand tall when the world seems to be crumbling around us, to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear, and to hold on to hope even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or pretending that life's challenges don't hurt. It is about recognizing that pain is part of the process and that it doesn't define us. It is the understanding that we can feel the weight of the world and still rise. It is about knowing that we have within us the capacity to adapt, to learn, and to grow through every difficulty we encounter. Resilience is built through the smallest steps, the quiet acts of courage that often go unnoticed by the world but have a profound impact on our journey. It is in these moments when we feel like giving up that we tap into something deeper, our inner strength. We often think of strength as something that comes from external sources, material possessions, status, or the approval of others. But the greatest strength comes from within, from a place of unwavering self-belief and the knowledge that we are not defined by our circumstances. We are defined by how we rise from them. The world may throw challenges at us, people may doubt us, and we may even doubt ourselves at times. But it is in those moments of doubt, when everything seems impossible, that we discover just how strong we truly are. Strength is not the absence of fear or doubt, it is the determination to press on, despite them. It's important to recognize that resilience does not mean we do not feel pain. We are human, and we are allowed to feel hurt, sorrow, and frustration. But it means that we do not allow those feelings to define us. It means we choose to use them as stepping stones, as catalysts for growth. It's the understanding that every setback, every failure is not the end, but the beginning of something greater. Life's challenges are not meant to break us, they are meant to forge us into something stronger, something more capable, something wiser. Resilience also teaches us the value of patience. In a world that often demands instant gratification, we must learn that true growth takes time. It is the slow, steady progress that builds the foundation for lasting success. The journey may not be easy, but each step we take, no matter how small, brings us closer to our destination. Resilience is about trusting the process, even when we can't see the outcome, and believing that the strength we need will be there when we need it most. When we develop resilience, we also develop a deeper connection with others. We realize that we are not alone in our struggles. Everyone faces their own battles, their own moments of despair. But when we face our challenges with resilience, we inspire those around us to do the same. We become beacons of hope, showing others that they too can rise, that they too have the power to overcome whatever obstacles come their way. The beauty of resilience is that it doesn't require perfection. It only requires that we continue moving forward, that we keep trying, that we keep believing in our ability to face whatever comes next. It's a quiet strength, a strength that is often born out of our hardest moments. And it is that strength that allows us to find meaning in our struggles, to discover our purpose in the midst of pain, and to rise time and time again, stronger than before. There comes a time in every person's life when they are confronted with a harsh truth: the path you choose to walk is entirely up to you. It doesn't matter where you've come from, what circumstances you faced, or how many obstacles have been placed in your way. At some point, you have to take ownership of your life and your decisions. You have to step into the driver's seat and steer your own course, even when the road ahead is uncertain. Too often, we wait for others to decide our fate. We wait for someone to tell us when it's our turn, for the right opportunity to come along, or for permission to pursue our dreams. But life doesn't work that way. The world doesn't hand us a blueprint for success. It's something we create ourselves, step by step, choice by choice. The truth is, no one else can live your life for you. You are the architect of your future, the writer of your story, and the one responsible for turning your vision into reality. This ownership extends beyond just the good times. It means taking responsibility for the mistakes you make, the wrong turns you take, and the moments when you fall short. Because in those moments when things don't go according to plan, it's easy to blame the world or others for what went wrong. But true growth comes when you stop pointing fingers and start looking inward. Ask yourself what you could have done differently, what lessons you can learn from the experience, and how you can use that knowledge to move forward. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about knowing that you are always in the process of becoming, and that every setback is just a part of that journey. Taking ownership also means letting go of excuses. Life is full of challenges, and it's easy to convince yourself that your circumstances are holding you back. You might say things like, I don't have the right resources, or I wasn't given the same opportunities as others. But the truth is, there are countless examples of people who started with far less than you and still managed to achieve greatness. The difference wasn't in their circumstances, it was in their mindset. They refused to let their situation define them. They took full ownership of their lives and chose to see opportunity instead of limitation. When you take ownership, you also begin to recognize that the power to change your life is within you. You don't need permission from anyone else. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Every decision, no matter how small, carries with it the potential to change the direction of your life. Whether it's the decision to pursue a new passion, to improve your health, or to mend a relationship, every choice you make has an impact. The power of those choices lies in your hands. But this ownership doesn't come without its challenges. It requires you to be honest with yourself, to confront your fears, your insecurities, and your doubts. It means acknowledging that the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the action you are willing to take. You can't change what happened yesterday, but you have the power to shape today and tomorrow. And in that power lies your freedom. Taking ownership also means taking care of your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. It's about being proactive in your own self-care, nurturing the aspects of your life that contribute to your happiness and fulfillment. You cannot give your best to the world if you're not caring for yourself first. It's not selfish, it's essential. When you take ownership of your health, your mindset, and your happiness, you are in the best position to show up for others and to live a life that is both meaningful and impactful. Ultimately, when you take ownership of your life, you step into your full potential. You stop waiting for life to happen to you, and you begin to make life happen for you. You embrace the journey with all of its twists and turns, and you take pride in the fact that you are the one in control of your destiny. The power to change your life is within you, and the first step toward that change is taking full ownership of who you are, and where you want to go. There are moments in life when we are forced to make one of the hardest decisions we can ever face, letting go of what no longer serves us. It's never an easy choice. We hold on to things, whether they be people, places, or even parts of ourselves, because we believe they define us, or because we fear that if we let go, something important will be lost. We cling to the past, to comfort, to the familiar, because it feels safe. But the truth is, sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for ourselves is to release what holds us back, to step away from relationships, situations, or beliefs that are limiting our growth. Letting go doesn't mean we forget what we've been through, or that we dismiss the value of the experiences we've had. It simply means acknowledging that what once served a purpose in our lives may no longer be aligned with who we are becoming. Sometimes the people in our lives aren't meant to stay forever. Not because we no longer care about them, but because their journey and ours are no longer on the same path. Letting go doesn't erase the love or the memories, but it creates space for us to continue on our own journey without carrying the weight of things that are no longer meant for us. There is an incredible freedom that comes from releasing the hold that things, or even people, can have on us. It is like taking a deep breath after holding your breath for far too long. Suddenly, you can move again, you can think more clearly, and you are no longer bound by the past. When we let go, we open ourselves to new opportunities, to new relationships, and to new experiences that we might have been blind to because we were too focused on what was behind us. The world around us is constantly changing, and so are we. Holding on to what no longer fits keeps us stuck in a version of ourselves that no longer reflects who we are today. The process of letting go is also about acknowledging our own growth. There's a certain point in every relationship, career, or experience where we outgrow what we once believed was enough for us. It could be a job that no longer challenges us, or a friendship that doesn't offer us the support or respect we deserve. Letting go means trusting ourselves enough to move forward, to leave behind what is comfortable and familiar in order to create the space for something better, something that will truly align with the person we are becoming. The courage to walk away from what no longer serves us is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that we value ourselves enough to choose growth over stagnation, to choose possibility over limitation. But letting go is not just about relationships or situations. It's also about letting go of the fears and doubts that we hold on to so tightly. We often fear the unknown, fear change, fear failure. We carry these fears like baggage, thinking they will protect us from pain, but in reality, they only weigh us down. Letting go of fear is perhaps one of the most liberating things we can do. It means choosing to trust that, no matter what happens, we have the strength to handle it. It means believing that the journey ahead, with all of its unknowns, is worth the risk because we are capable of navigating it. Letting go is not an act of giving up. It's an act of choosing yourself, of choosing your peace, your happiness, your future. It's the realization that we are worthy of growth, and in order to grow, we sometimes must shed the things that no longer fit. It's about having the strength to face the discomfort of change and trusting that, in the end, what we make room for will bring us greater fulfillment than anything we could have held on to. In letting go, we stop living in the past and start living in the present. We stop waiting for the world to give us something and start creating the life we want for ourselves. It's a painful, but ultimately rewarding process, one that leads us to a place of deeper understanding, of greater clarity, and of a stronger sense of self. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness, it's a testament to the courage it takes to move forward, to embrace the unknown, and to trust that the best is yet to come. There is a quiet power in silence. In a world that is constantly moving, always loud, always demanding, it can feel almost impossible to embrace stillness. But there is something profound in the moments when we choose silence over reaction. You see, the world often teaches us that we must speak up, that we must defend ourselves, that we must respond to every challenge, every insult, and every criticism. But in reality, there is strength in not reacting. There is power in holding your peace, in allowing the noise of the world to pass by without it taking root in your heart. When you remain silent, you are not weak or passive, you are demonstrating control. You are choosing not to let external forces dictate your emotional state. In those moments when others seek to provoke you, silence becomes your armor. You don't need to rise to every challenge. Not every comment or action deserves a response. Sometimes the best response is no response at all. Silence gives you the space to observe, to think, to understand the situation without being caught up in the heat of the moment. It allows you to see things for what they truly are, rather than reacting based on emotion or impulse. Silence also speaks volumes. It sends a message to the world that you are not easily shaken. It tells others that their words or actions do not have the power to control you. When you do not react, you assert your power over the situation. You are not at the mercy of others' opinions or judgments. Instead, you stand firm in your own truth, knowing that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. This kind of restraint comes from a place of deep understanding that who you are is not defined by the way others treat you, but by the way you choose to respond. There is also wisdom in silence. In the absence of noise, we find clarity. When we are not consumed by the need to react, we can listen to ourselves, to our surroundings, to the deeper wisdom that exists within us. It is often in the quiet moments that we hear the most profound truths. In silence, we find the space to reflect, to process, and to grow. We begin to understand that sometimes the best course of action is to wait, to let things unfold in their own time, to trust that the answers we seek will reveal themselves when we are patient enough to listen. By choosing silence, we create an opportunity for peace. In a world that thrives on conflict, silence becomes a refuge, a space where we can find stillness amidst chaos. When we refuse to engage in negativity, when we step away from the noise and the drama, we are choosing to protect our peace. It's not about ignoring reality, it's about protecting our mental and emotional well-being. The world can be tumultuous, but we have the power to find peace within ourselves by how we choose to interact with it. Silence is the boundary we set to keep the chaos at bay, to preserve our sense of calm and focus. Furthermore, silence gives us strength by allowing us to process and respond thoughtfully, rather than impulsively. Often, when we react immediately, we are responding from a place of hurt, frustration, or anger. In these moments, our emotions can cloud our judgment and lead us to make decisions we later regret. But in silence, we create the space to separate ourselves from the emotion of the moment. We can respond from a place of wisdom, understanding, and purpose. The silence allows us to collect ourselves, to consider the situation in its entirety, and to choose a response that aligns with our values and who we aspire to be. In the midst of noise and conflict, silence is not passive, it is an active choice. It is a choice to rise above, to not let the world drag us into its chaos. It is an act of inner strength, of resilience, and of self-respect. In those moments when you choose not to react, when you allow the silence to speak for you, you demonstrate that you are in control of your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. You teach others how to treat you by showing them that you will not be easily swayed by their words or actions. Ultimately, silence is not just about refraining from speaking. It is about creating space for growth, for understanding, and for peace. It is a powerful tool in our journey towards self-mastery and inner strength. By choosing silence, we choose to rise above the noise, to stay grounded in who we are, and to allow our actions rather than our words to define us. It is in this silence that we find the power to transform our lives, to protect our peace, and to move forward with purpose and clarity. There comes a moment in life when you are faced with a choice. Do you keep pushing forward, or do you give up? It's a choice that will define the course of your life in ways that you might not even fully understand at the time. We've all been there. We've all faced obstacles that seem insurmountable, challenges that make us question our strength, and moments when it feels like everything is falling apart. But the key to overcoming these challenges isn't in the circumstances we face, it's in our decision to keep going, even when everything within us tells us to quit. The first thing to understand is that giving up is never the answer. It may seem like the easy option, the one that promises relief from the struggle, but it's also the path that leads to regret. Giving up means surrendering to fear, to doubt, to uncertainty. It means allowing external forces, things that you have no control over, to determine your future. It means allowing the setbacks to define you rather than your resilience. But in those moments when you feel like quitting, remember that it's not the end unless you allow it to be. The struggle you face is part of your journey, and it's in those moments of struggle that you discover just how much strength lies within you. Resilience isn't built when things are easy. It's built in the moments of hardship, when every fiber of your being wants to give in, but you push through anyway. Each time you refuse to give up, you grow stronger. Each time you face adversity and continue to move forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. The truth is, the more difficult the challenge, the greater the reward on the other side. The hardest battles often lead to the most significant breakthroughs. In those moments when you feel like quitting, remember that progress doesn't happen in a straight line. Life is full of twists and turns, ups and downs. Just because you've encountered a setback doesn't mean you've failed. It simply means you're in the middle of a process that requires patience, perseverance, and a belief that you are moving in the right direction, even when it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes all you need to do is take one more step, even if it feels small or insignificant. It's the small steps taken consistently that lead to monumental change over time. And don't underestimate the power of persistence. There will always be people who doubt you, people who question your decisions, or people who tell you that you're not capable. But their doubts are not your truth. The only truth that matters is the one that comes from within you. Every time you decide to keep going, despite the naysayers and the obstacles, you are affirming your belief in yourself and your ability to achieve greatness. Your journey is yours and yours alone, and only you can decide how it will unfold. The power to continue, even when things are tough, is in your hands. There will also be times when you question whether the struggle is even worth it. When the road gets long, and the destination seems too far away, you might wonder if it's all for nothing. But understand this, everything you're going through is shaping you. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome, is preparing you for something greater than you can even imagine. The purpose behind the struggle may not be clear right now, but in time you will look back and see that every setback was a lesson, every hardship was a stepping stone, and every moment of doubt was an opportunity to strengthen your resolve. Remember that the greatest success stories are often written by those who didn't quit when it got tough. They are written by people who, against all odds, found a way to keep going. These stories don't come from those who gave up at the first sign of difficulty. They come from those who faced adversity head-on, who stood tall in the face of hardship, and who chose to rise time and time again, no matter how many times they were knocked down. They chose not to let their circumstances define them. They chose to define their circumstances. So when the temptation to quit creeps in, when it feels like everything is too much, remind yourself of your own strength. Remember that you are capable of more than you realize. Your ability to keep going is your greatest asset. The decision to never give up is the decision to live life on your own terms, to take control of your destiny, and to become the person you were always meant to be. It's not about being perfect. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about showing up even when it's hard. It's about pushing forward, one step at a time, until you reach the place you know you're meant to be. The road may be tough, but the reward is always worth the fight.